"Your wedding gift was cheap," my cousin posted, tagging me. I'd given $500 cash. Her registry had $40,000 in items. I commented, "You're right. I'll take it back." Then I disputed the charge with my bank. When she got the reversal notice, "My name's Michael, I'm 33, and I'm the responsible one in my family. Oldest cousin. First one to move out. First one to have a real job. I'm a restaurant manager. That means 60-hour weeks, back-to-back doubles, and smelling like fryer oil even on my days off. It also means in my family's eyes I'm doing well, which apparently translates to you can pay for everything, right? For years, that's who I've been to them. Need a graduation dinner? Michael will get you a discount. Need a last-minute birthday cake? Michael can pull strings with the pastry chef. Need cash because the landlord is being unfair again. Michael will figure it out. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I rent a small apartment over a nail salon, and my car makes a new sound every month. But to my family, I'm the guy with extra, especially to my cousin Ashley. Ashley is 29, the unofficial princess of the family, my Aunt Lisa's only child, blonde, always tanned, always manifesting good vibes on Instagram, while quietly expecting everyone else to pay for the vibes. If you scroll through my family's group chat, her name pops up the most. Ashley's interview went great. Ashley is thinking about getting a new car. Ashley found her dream venue. When she got engaged, it turned into a full-time reality show. The Wedding Journey. I watched it mostly from the kitchen of my restaurant on my 10-minute breaks. Phone propped up against a metal container, eyes bouncing between tickets and her stories of cake tastings and dress try-ons. I kept telling myself, it's fine, she's happy, it's one day. Then came the registry. $40,000. Designer cookware, custom furniture, high-end espresso machine, a $1,200 statement mirror, random ridiculous stuff like a $500 crystal punch bowl. The registry read less like help us start our life and more like outfit our luxury showroom. My mom sent it to me with, "Isn't this nice?" My aunt added, "Of course we all want to make it special for her." I rolled my eyes, went back to work, and tried not to think about what they'd expect from me. Fast forward to 2 weeks after the wedding. It's a Monday. Lunch shift. I'm in my office between the walk-in fridge and the mop closet, finally sitting down after dealing with a broken soda gun and a server no-show. I open my phone out of habit. Instagram. Notifications. Family group story at the top. Ashley. I tap it without thinking. It's a screenshot of her registry page with a caption splashed across it in big white letters. Some of y'all really showed your true colors with these cheap wedding gifts. If you can't afford a real gift, just decline the invite next time. Underneath, in smaller text, she's tagged 3 people. One of them is me, at Mike Eats All Day. My stomach drops. At first, I'm hoping it's some mistake, some weird accident. My thumb pauses over the screen. Then I swipe up and see the comments. My Aunt Lisa. Right, after everything we did. Some people clearly don't value you, honey. My mom. People think throwing a little cash at you is enough. So disrespectful. Ashley replies, exactly, especially when they're out here bragging about being managers and still giving less than a set of pans. My name isn't in the comments. It doesn't have to be, because 2 days before the wedding, Ashley sent me a message. Hey, cuz, just a reminder, cash is totally fine too if you don't want to pick from the registry. I had replied, got you. I'll give it to you at the reception. I'd handed her an envelope with $500 in crisp bills. I remember because I had counted it twice and felt a little sick. That was more than half my rent. And now I'm staring at a story calling me cheap, tagged, public. A line cook knocks on my office door. Chef wants to know about table 12's come, he says. Give me a second, I mutter. But my eyes are stuck on the screen, on Ashley's story and the tiny little circle icon showing it's been up for 3 hours. Dozens of people have seen it, liked it, reacted with laughing emojis. All I can hear in my head is my aunt's voice. Some people clearly don't value you. Yeah, I got that message loud and clear. That story didn't come out of nowhere. If it had been a one-off, maybe I could have shrugged it off, told myself Ashley was just being dramatic online. But it wasn't. One moment. It was years of small cuts that finally hit bone. I grew up in a family where money was never talked about honestly. Just used like a scoreboard. My parents were comfortable. Their word. We weren't rich, but we weren't struggling. What we were was obsessed with appearances. My mom loved telling people we take care of our own. What she meant was, Michael takes care of our own. I started working at 15, bussing tables at a diner. By 18, I was on the line cooking. By 25, I'd worked my way up to restaurant manager at a mid-range place downtown. Not glamorous, but stable. My family translated manager into money tree. When my younger brother Mark overdrew his account because he forgot about a subscription and couldn't pay rent, Michael, can you help your brother? He'll pay you back. He didn't. When my dad's car payment got messed up and they charged a late fee, we're just waiting for a check. I did. When Ashley's old car finally died and she needed $800 for a down payment or she'll lose the deal, my aunt called crying. You're the only one who's good with money, Mikey. Please, she's your cousin. I sent the money. No one mentioned it again. Every time I tried to say no, it turned into a morality play. You don't have kids. What are you even saving for? Wow, money really changed you. Guess we know where we stand. So I started telling myself, it's just money. At least they'll stop calling for a while. Then Ashley got engaged. From the second that ring hit her finger, my mom and aunt switched into full royal wedding mode. Group chats, Pinterest boards, spreadsheets, I watched the numbers climb just from the fragments I saw. We're looking at a venue that's $18K but includes lights. Photographer is $4K, but she is worth it. Florist wants $3K for the arch and centerpieces. Every time they said a number, my chest got tight. About 3 months into planning, my aunt texted me directly. Aunt Lisa, hey sweetie, can we come by the restaurant to talk about something? I knew what that meant. They came in during a slow afternoon. Ashley in a white bride sweatshirt, my aunt with a folder. They ordered iced teas they barely touched. Okay, my aunt said, flipping open the folder like it was a board meeting. So we have an idea that would be perfect. Ashley smiled at me, all teeth. You know how much we love your restaurant, she said. We were thinking rehearsal dinner? I actually relaxed a little. That part was easy. Sure, I said. We can definitely do that. I can give you the family discount we use for staff. My aunt laughed like that was adorable. Oh, honey, we were hoping for, a bit more help than that. She slid a printed menu toward me. She'd already circled everything. We're expecting around 40 people, she said. We want the steak, the salmon, the signature cocktails, dessert. Ashley leaned forward. And open bar, she added. Obviously. I glanced at the totals she'd scribbled at the bottom. For that many people, even with my employee discount, it was a lot. We can knock it down, I said slowly, but that's still going to be at least, my aunt cut in. Michael, sweetheart, she said, lowering her voice. You know how much we do for this family. We were hoping you'd want to really bless Ashley on her big day. It's not like you have a family of your own to pay for yet. There it was. Ashley nodded. Think of it as your wedding gift, she said. You hosting the whole dinner. And then, you can just give a little something extra on the day if you want. I blinked. Hosting the whole dinner, in restaurant math, was basically thousands of dollars. I tried to joke. You know I don't own the place, right? I can't just comp 40 people. My aunt's smile faded just a little. Well, she said, if you really cared, you'd at least try. It's not like we're asking for a new car. I felt that old, familiar guilt creeping up my spine. In the end, I talked to my boss. We worked out a deal where I could comp appetizers and desserts, give a huge discount on entrees, and do limited bar. It still cost me a lot. I gave up my bonus that month to cover the difference. I worked extra shifts. I adjusted the schedule so I could personally be there that night, making sure everything was perfect. Ashley walked in, looked around, and said, "It's cute. Not as fancy as the venue, but cute." That was my thank you. On top of that, a week before the wedding, my aunt called again. "Things are a little tight right now with the florist," she said. "Could you maybe put his deposit on your card? Just until after the honeymoon. They'll be getting so much cash you'll be paid back before you know it." She said it like it was already decided. I stared at my bank app. I had exactly one credit card with enough space for that. Using it meant I couldn't pay off part of my own balance. "I really shouldn't," I started. She sighed loudly. "Michael, It's Ashley's wedding. Do you want it to be remembered as the day her flowers didn't show up? So I did it. $650 deposit. Just until after. By the time the wedding day came, I had covered a huge portion of the rehearsal bill, put the florist deposit on my card, bought new shoes and a suit because my mom said, "Don't embarrass us in your work clothes," and pulled together $500 cash in an envelope because after all that, I still felt like I had to give something obvious and respectable. I watched Ashley open that envelope at the reception, sitting at the head table. She peeked in, saw the bills, and her mouth twitched. "Thanks, cuz," she said, flat voice, already reaching for the next card. I pretended not to notice. I danced, I smiled for photos, I went home with my feet screaming and my credit card balance higher than it had been in a year. I told myself it was fine. Family, big day, whatever. Then 2 weeks later, I'm in my office on that Monday, reading her story about cheap gifts. I clicked to see who viewed it. I don't know why I do that to myself, but I do. Several coworkers, some distant cousins, a couple of servers who follow her because they think she's pretty. In the comments, under my mom's "people think throwing a little cash at you is enough" line, someone has written, "Wait, didn't your cousin manage that fancy place downtown?" LMAO. I thought he'd do more, Ashley replied. Right? My face is hot. My hands are shaking. Another comment pops up while I'm staring. My own brother, Mark. Framan. Some people are just selfish. Selfish. That's when it stops being just an annoying story and starts feeling like a public execution. They didn't just think my gift was cheap. They thought I was cheap, after everything I'd already paid for, that they didn't even call gifts. And they were happy to tell the world. I didn't explode right away. I wish I could say I fired back instantly with some perfect clapback, but the truth is, I spent the first hour just numb. I closed Instagram, opened it, closed it again, answered a few emails without really reading them. Forgot what I was saying mid-sentence when a server came in to ask about a void. My brain kept replaying that word. Selfish. By the time my shift ended, the story had more reactions. Laughing emojis. OMG say it. Name and shame. All from people I barely knew or hadn't seen in years. I went home, dropped my keys on the kitchen counter, and sat at my tiny table with the lights off. My phone buzzed. Family group chat. Mom. Michael, please do not make a scene about Ashley's post. It's just a joke. Don't be sensitive. I stared at it. I hadn't said a word yet, and somehow I was already making a scene. A second bubble popped up. Aunt Lisa, we are not discussing this on here. If you feel guilty, that's on you. Guilty. I opened Instagram again and looked at that story one more time. The screenshot of the registry, the caption about cheap gifts, my tag. I clicked reply before I could talk myself out of it. My thumbs hovered, deleted, started again. Finally, I typed, "You're right, I'll take it back." I hit send. For a second, nothing happened. Then, the tiny scene popped up under my comment. A reply bubble appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Ashley responded, "LMAO, what are you even talking about, Michael?" My heart was pounding, but the switch in my head had already flipped. The part of me that usually thought, just let it go, it's not worth the drama, had finally been backed into a corner. I typed, "The $500 cash I gave you at your reception, the rehearsal dinner I comped, the florist deposit on my card." Apparently that was all cheap, so yeah, I'll be taking it back. I hit send, 3 dots. Then, "OMG, are you serious right now?" Comments started stacking under mine. Some girl from her gym. Wait, what? A distant cousin. This is not the place, dude. My mom DM'd me immediately. "Michael, call me. Now." My phone started ringing with her name. I declined it. Another DM, this time from my aunt. "Take those comments down. You are embarrassing us." I took a deep breath and replied, "I'm tired of being embarrassed for caring more than you do. If you think my support is cheap, you don't need it." Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I opened my banking app, I found the florist charge, the exact amount of the deposit, $650. Under reason for dispute, the app gave me a list: fraud, duplicate, goods not received, etc. I stared at goods not received for a long time. The florist had shown up. The flowers were there. I'd seen them myself, but the agreement had been just until after the honeymoon. You'll be paid back. They were back from the honeymoon. No one had said a word. I clicked Other. There was a text box. I typed. Charge was placed on my card temporarily for a family member with explicit promise of reimbursement after wedding. No repayment, no agreement in writing. Cardholder does not authorize this as a personal charge. I attached a screenshot of the text from my aunt asking me to just put it on your card until after and hit submit. My finger hovered over the $500 ATM withdrawal from the morning of the wedding too. But you can't dispute cash you willingly took out. So instead, I opened my Notes app and started listing. Rehearsal dinner discount, $1,100 worth of food comped. My bonus I gave up to cover it, $600. Florist deposit, $650. Shoes, suit, gas. The envelope. It wasn't just $500. It was thousands. My phone buzzed again and again. Group chat blowing up. DMs from numbers I didn't even have saved. I finally answered when my mother called the third time in a row. Legally, I think that's harassment from your own mom. Michael, she snapped the second I picked up. What is wrong with you? Hi, Mom, I said, voice flat. Do you have any idea how you made Ashley look? People are messaging me. The whole family is talking about your little tantrum. My tantrum, I repeated. Interesting. I didn't post a story calling someone cheap for giving $500. It was a joke, she yelled. Only you would make everything about yourself. You know Ashley's registry was expensive. People did what they could. Some people gave more. That's great for them, I said. My point is, if $500 and thousands in support is cheap, then you don't need my money at all. You are being dramatic, she said. Take those comments down and apologize. Right now, no. Silence. What did you just say? I said no, I repeated, my voice shaking but steady. I'm not apologizing for not wanting to be publicly shamed. And by the way, I just disputed the florist charge. So you might want to tell Ashley to budget for that. She sucked in a breath. You did what? I disputed it, I said. You promised you'd pay me back after the honeymoon. You didn't. That's not what a gift is. That's a loan. I'm done giving out loans. You are going to ruin her credit, she shrieked. Do you understand what a chargeback does to a small vendor? The florist could go after her. How could you be so heartless? I actually laughed. It surprised both of us. Heartless? I said. You mean like tagging me in a post calling me cheap in front of half the city? Heartless like that? Michael, listen to me, she hissed. Family doesn't do this. Family doesn't talk money. We handle things privately. Family also doesn't treat their son like an ATM, I said. Yet here we are. She started in on the usual script. After all we've done for you, we raised you, we gave you a home. I hung up. For the first time in my life, I chose to end the conversation. My hands were shaking, my heart was racing, but under all of that, there was something else. Relief. They wanted to play public? Fine. I could finally stop pretending everything was okay. The fallout was fast. The next morning, I woke up to a wall of notifications. Ashley had posted a new story. This time, it was a wall of text on a black background. Imagine weaponizing money against your own family because you can't handle a joke. Some people really show who they are when you don't worship them for bare minimum. I am done with toxic relatives. If you see certain people talking about boundaries, just know they are broke and bitter. No names, no tags. But everyone who'd seen the previous story knew exactly who she meant. Under that, a screenshot of my comment from the night before. She'd crossed out my username but left my words visible. You're right. I'll take it back. She added a caption, and then he actually dispute a charge over wedding flowers, over $, over nothing. My aunt messaged me separately. They reversed the charge, you monster. The florist called Ashley in tears this morning. Now she has to pay and her card might get flagged. Is this what you wanted? To destroy her big day after the fact? I stared at her text, then at the email from my bank confirming, dispute received, Temporary credit applied. The deposit amount had been removed from my balance. For the first time since the wedding, my credit card didn't look like a horror movie. I typed back. What I wanted was to not be used. I asked to be paid back. You ignored me. You turned me into a punchline online. So yes, I am done funding this. She replied almost instantly. You are sick. After everything we've done for you. I didn't answer. I shut off message previews on my phone, tucked it face down, and went to work. At the restaurant, I kept waiting for the shame to hit, waiting for that familiar wave of, you went too far, you should fix it, you should apologize. Instead, during pre-shift, one of my servers, Danny, cornered me. Hey, can I ask you something? She said quietly. Yeah? She glanced around, making sure no one else was listening. I saw that post your cousin made yesterday, and your comment. I know it's none of my business, but dude, that was messed up. I winced. Her or me? Her, she said immediately. You gave her $500? Yeah. She blew out of breath. I'm a server, and if someone tips me $20, I want to hug them. $500 is a lot. If my cousin called me cheap for that, I'd be in jail right now. I laughed, tension cracking a little. Later that day, another coworker mentioned it in passing. Hey, I don't know the whole story, but for what it's worth, my entire wedding cost less than that registry screenshot she posted. You're not crazy. That became a theme. The more non-family people reacted, the more my internal scale started to tip. It wasn't that I'd been perfect. Maybe disputing the florist charge was aggressive. Maybe I could have talked to them one more time first. But compared to years of being expected to bleed money silently, compared to being called cheap in front of everyone, no, I wasn't crazy. Back in family land, though, I was apparently the villain of the decade. Screenshots started trickling in from my cousin Jenna, who was always a bit more neutral. Jenna, just so you know what they're saying. Photo of the family group chat I had muted. Mom, Michael has turned his back on this family. I don't know who he is anymore. Aunt Lisa, he used Ashley's wedding as revenge for old grudges. He always had issues with money. Mark, TBH, I always knew he was weird about cash. He acted like paying my rent one time was such a big thing. Mom again. We are done relying on him. God will provide without his help. That last line actually made me snort. Done relying on him, as if that was some moral stand, not the thing I'd been begging for. Jenna messaged me separately. For what it's worth, I think what they did to you was trash. I didn't say anything in there because I don't have the energy to fight your mom, but I'm on your side. I typed, deleted, retyped. Thanks. I'm just tired. She sent back a heart emoji, and then, also, I'm low-key glad someone finally called out how much they expect from you. Ashley's registry was insane. She literally added a $900 blender. I hadn't even seen that one. Over the next few weeks, the practical consequences started to show. Ashley posted less about married life and more passive-aggressive quotes about cutting out toxic people. Jenna told me my aunt and my mom had a screaming match over who was going to help Ashley with the remaining wedding debt now that Michael has turned selfish. Apparently, my grandmother got dragged in. At one point, my dad supposedly said, "We can't keep asking him. He's not made of money." And my mom burst into tears about losing her firstborn. Meanwhile, my life got quieter. I stopped picking up calls from my mom when she called more than once in a row. I turned off notifications for the entire extended family. I started doing something wild. When my paycheck hit, I kept it. I put extra toward my own credit card. I fixed the noise in my car. I bought myself a decent set of pans on sale because the ones in my apartment were warped to hell. Standing in my little kitchen one night, stirring pasta in my own new pot, I realized something. I'd spent years funding other people's milestones while my own life stayed stuck. Every big thing I did, moving out, getting my promotion, surviving the pandemic in the restaurant industry, got a cool anyway. Have you heard about Ashley's new thing? And I'd accepted that because I thought that's what good family members do. I thought love meant swallowing it when they used me, when they called me cheap for not giving them more. Now, with my phone blissfully silent and my credit card slowly shrinking instead of growing, I felt lighter. Not instantly happy, not healed, but lighter. Of course, they still tried to rope me back in. A month or so later, my mom left a voicemail I made the mistake of listening to. "Michael," she said. her voice doing that fake soft thing. Your father and I are willing to move past this ugliness. Ashley is very hurt, but she might forgive you if you sit down and talk with her. We have a family barbecue next weekend. Bring a peace offering. Maybe you can help them with some of the remaining balances from the wedding. Show you're still part of this family. A peace offering. Help them with remaining balances. I listened to the whole message, then hit delete. No callback. The next weekend, instead of going to their barbecue, I covered a shift for one of my line cooks so he could take his kid to a birthday party, then used the overtime to book myself a cheap 2-night stay at a cabin a couple hours away. I turned my phone off for the whole time, sat on a porch with a mug of coffee that wasn't from a to-go cup, listening to actual birds instead of kitchen printers. Nobody demanded money from me. Nobody called me selfish. The world didn't end. And slowly, I started to realize the crisis my family was acting like I'd caused, it was just what happens when a resource dries up. They weren't mourning me. They were mourning the version of me who paid. It's been about 6 months since the wedding. Since the story, since the comment, since the dispute. Ashley and I haven't spoken directly once. My mom still sends the occasional guilt text. Grandma is asking about you. She doesn't understand why you're doing this to us. Your brother's car broke down. It would be nice if you stepped up without us having to beg. You can't run from family forever, Michael. The difference now is, I don't answer. I'm not cruel about it. I sent Grandma a separate message explaining I love her, that I'm just taking space. I text Mark happy birthday. I keep conversations short and surface level. But the endless open pipeline of Michael will cover it? Closed. A while back, Jenna sent me a blurry photo from some family dinner I didn't attend. Ashley at the table, looking annoyed while my aunt and my mom talk with their heads close together. No fancy centerpieces, no designer plates, just regular dishes. Underneath, Jenna wrote, not saying this to be petty, but they finally started saying we can't afford that out loud. It's weirdly refreshing. In a small, messed up way, that made me feel better. Not because I want them to struggle. I don't. But for once, everyone is living in reality. As for the florist, Ashley ended up paying the deposit herself. How do I know? Because the florist followed me on Instagram and sent a DM. Hey, I just wanted to say thanks for explaining. Your aunt tried to make it sound like you scammed them, but she sent me the initial text where she asked you to put it on your card. Once I saw that, I told her either she pays or I cancel the arrangement. She paid. I'm sorry your family put you in that position. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I wrote back, I'm sorry they dragged you into it. Your flowers were beautiful. You deserve to be paid by the right person. For the first time in this whole mess, I felt entirely justified. Not 50-50ths. Not, well, we both messed up. Just right. Last month, a couple who are regulars at my restaurant invited me to their wedding. They said I'd become part of their story because they had their first date at one of my tables. It was sweet and small, in a backyard with fairy lights and a Bluetooth speaker. I brought them a $100 gift card and a handwritten note. They hugged me like I'd given them gold. We know how hard you work, the bride said. You didn't have to get us anything. We're just glad you're here. I sat there that night under cheap string lights, watching people laugh and dance in a space they could actually afford. And it hit me. A gift is not an entrance fee. It's not a down payment on someone else's lifestyle. It's a piece of yourself you choose to give, and I had been handing out pieces of myself to people who didn't even say thank you. They just complained the piece wasn't big enough. So no, I don't regret disputing the charge. I don't regret the comment. I don't regret finally saying, you're right. I'll take it back. What I took back wasn't just money. I took back my time, my energy, my right to decide what I can afford, financially and emotionally. If my family ever reaches a place where they can apologize without adding, but you should still pay for, maybe we can talk. Until then, they can add used to pay for everything to the list of things they think about me right under selfish. Because I'd rather be selfish and free than generous and resentful. I still smell like fryer oil most days. I still live over a nail salon. My car still makes weird noises sometimes, but my bank account is finally mine. And the next time someone calls my gift cheap, they won't be getting another one.